Hey everybody, check it out, we're at the Lego store! But today in this video, we're actually gonna be doing something a little bit different. I'm gonna be letting you know what I did before Lego and going full-time on YouTube. And the answer to that question is actually right there. The locally owned and operated collectible store known as West Edmonton Coin and Stamp has been in business for nearly 40 years here in West Edmonton Mall. And the curious thing about this store is that it's actually owned by my family. My stepfather built this place from the ground up. It was a huge part of my upbringing. Like, I spent a lot of time here as a kid, as a teenager, and as an adult. This place is wild. Today, we're gonna show you the entire store, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about my history. Now, don't let the store name confuse you. This place is a lot more than just coins and stamps. Over the years, it has diversified into essentially every collectible imaginable. And it's actually grown here in West Edmonton Mall. It's moved, relocated, and grown over 5 times. It started as a hole in the wall, and now it's a massive store located by the Lego store, which is definitely pretty cool. My dad literally started off living in his car selling tapes at the flea market. And then he eventually opened this store and built it brick by brick. It's a pretty incredible story. And working here throughout my entire working life prior to YouTube definitely taught me a lot. And it sort of brought me to the type of person I am today. And, you know, that's just sort of what I've learned from. I've learned from working here. You can see how many different types of collectibles they offer in this store. It is just incredible. If you've never been in here, well, probably a lot of you haven't because you're not from Edmonton, but it is truly overwhelming when you come in here for the first time. Me, I'm used to it because I was like brought up in this environment, so I'm pretty used to it, but it's just incredible how many different types of collectibles are jammed into this store. Before we get started, I just wanted to address one thing. Yes, my family does own this store, but I can't stress this enough. Not everything in life was handed to me. The store started from nothing and got to where it is today because of all the hard work that was put into it. My stepfather is the hardest working man I know. I'm probably the next one. Nothing was made easy or handed to him, and he's instilled that into me and my brothers. I've been working hard literally my entire life, starting back on the elementary school field. We always referred to this place as the store, but my dad referred to it as the school of hard knocks, and we were all put through it. I want to talk about a few different things today in this video. I want to showcase some of the amazing products because we have some Lego up here. So you may as well take a look at that while we're at the store. You'll probably notice that nobody's here right now. That's because I'm here after hours. I also want to talk about the lessons that I learned while working here and just like my working history at this incredible store. On top of the worldwide coin showcases, you'll see some Lego sets. We've got some party boats there. There's like a Mars mission set. Some Mario sets, Donkey Kong, some older ones. Like, what is that? It's like some sort of game. You got some Creator 3-in-1 stuff there. Older retired stuff. There's the Sonic the Hedgehog set. Some like action figures and stuff up here. Like, what? That's the Star Wars action figure. So this store actually buys a lot of collections over the counter, and they're direct distributors for a lot of companies such as Sideshow Toys, Hot Toys, not Lego. Unfortunately, we tried to get that while I was here, but they were a little hard to get. I think it's because they opened up a store right across the way from us there. You got the Assembly Square, Natural History Museum. There's the Disney train, the piano. So some of it's retired, some of it's not. And up there's some built Technic stuff way at the top there. Also, look at those comic books way up top there. Those are super cool. Those are all one-of-one drawings, like black and white drawings. Those are really well done by Jim Sieber. There's so much to see in here. Like right over here, we've got a game-used Gordie Howe stick and also a Gordie Howe jersey signed right there, which is pretty cool. Those ones aren't for sale. And then there's, right up top there, you can see there's a Goddard McDavid autographed hockey stick that's certified by Upper Deck, which is pretty neat. You got an AT-AT Walker there. There's a bunch of other sets. Combination of retired and not retired stuff. What's this? Whoa, I don't have that one. Cool. I think there was another holiday set. Oh, there's the old roller coaster on the back side here. Oh, it's Sauron. We've got the, or is that the mouth of Sauron? Oh, it's the mouth of Sauron. I'm sorry. We got the roller coaster there, and then there's also the Santa's Workshop set, along with some others. Here's a wall of really fun stuff. This is just behind one of the main counters here at the back. And check it out. This is the one thing that we're going to be taking to the studio with us. It's an old school Lego set, number 256 with 91 pieces. Pretty cool. Going to be gifted to me by my stepdad, so thank you so much. Coins is where it all sort of started. These are all like mint coins that we call from the Royal Canadian Mint. Western Coin and Stamp is a direct distributor for the Royal Canadian Mint, so we sell all this stuff at mint issue price. And then he's got, I'm used to saying we, because I used to work here forever, right? So I'm just going to say we. He's got coins here from all around the world, all alphabetized, which is pretty neat. And in there's all sorts of like junk silver and stuff like that. Over here, there's some of the silver bullion. Silver, and there's a little bit of gold in there too. There's the Ace of Spades 10-ounce bar. That's pretty cool. Some old notes there, 1937 and also 1954. I know that stuff. You don't have to know that. I'll definitely know it. This is pretty cool right here. All the metals, and these showcases rotate. Some pretty cool stuff in there. And then these are probably international coins. Yeah, these are still the higher end international stuff in another showcase. These showcases are older than me. Some pretty cool stuff in there. Some older banknotes. So this is sort of like where it all started, like the coins and the banknotes and stuff. All sorts of Canadian ones in here. Not as much American stuff, but there is a bunch of stuff that's not on display as well. Mostly the Canadian stuff is sought after here in Canada. There's all the 1937 stuff. This stuff's just like a piece of history, right? Then you get into the 1954. You want to see something really cool? Okay, so if you look at that note right there, and you look on the right side of it, you'll see two circles, a nose and a mouth. Do you see it in the Queen's hair to the right of her ear? It's called the Devil's Face note. Pretty cool note. I'm full of like a bunch of random information that people would be like, what? How do you know all that? Oh, it's because I worked in a collectibles store. Hey, look right above that showcase there. There's all sorts of minifigures in there. Pretty neat. Also some of the military related stuff, and then just more notes taped everywhere as well. Tins, that's something new. We didn't have a whole lot of tins when I worked here. That's really cool. Look at all the old school tins. They're always buying stuff over the counter. So that's something new. I won't bore you with the coins and paper money for too long, although I really like it. They got some t-shirts there, all sorts of statues and action figures, and more of the packaged action figures back there. Also looks like they got into Warhammer since I worked here. Comic books, pretty big as well. These are all the new issue comic books. So these comic books come in every week. Funko Pops, massive. And it looks like anime DVDs and Blu-rays are massive now as well. More Funko Pops, all sorts of merch there. It's funny, you saw the new comic books there, so that's like all the weekly issue stuff. And then there's all the back issues. So these are all like the older comic books. And these drawers pull out, and these are all the comic book short boxes full of backed and boarded comics. And then over here, this is all the long boxes full of backed and boarded comics, and then all of these drawers are full as well. You can see they're all separated by DC, Marvel, Indie, and then there's all the graded ones up here too. Probably a mix of older and newer stuff that's all graded. So that's pretty cool. So a lot of graded books there. One of the biggest departments is trading card games. Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then all the other random ones. That's the big three though, Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh. All the dice and stuff as well. Big into D&D, Got all the books there, all the minis and all the paint for the minis. A bunch of random trinkets and stuff because West Edmonton Mall is a tourist trap. So there's all sorts of random trinkets throughout the middle here and more over there as well. Looks like they got into Gundam in a big way. So lots of Gundam models here and some of the cooler comics pinned to the wall there. A lot of autographed merchandise as well. You'll see there's Patrick Stewart right there. Stan Lee autograph picture up there as well. And there's the Star Wars one. That's cool. Wow. All autographed. That's really neat. And there's Hot Wheels in a big way too. I'm gonna miss some departments because I'm even getting overwhelmed. Holy cow. There's so much stuff in here. It is just crazy. Take it all in, folks. There's all the unpainted D&D stuff. D&D minis, which is just massively popular, especially ever since Stranger Things came out. These are all the pictures that we have. So they're all like autographed or non-autographed pictures. These ones are probably, oh, they're marked. See, this will be an auto. Who's this for the Oilers? Oh, Pooley RV. Okay, he's traded. It's 40% off for Pooley RV. But yeah, all sorts of pictures there. And then more like the souvenir type stuff. So we got all the different sports teams for NFL, NHL, CFL, and we got mugs, shot glasses, all that different type of stuff. And then there's the Canadian souvenirs. The big West Edmonton Mall Hotel is just like right down there, and West Edmonton Mall is sort of a tourist trap. So we put the souvenirs in the front window, and a lot of people come here just to get souvenirs. We're one of the only souvenir shops in West Edmonton Mall. So that was pretty smart to get into that. In a big way, there's an old school Connor McDavid autograph. It's really cool for the Erie Otters. You don't know who Connor McDavid is? Well, that's one of the best hockey players in the world, if not the best right now. And this is where you get into these sports cards, basketball, football, hockey, all that. So you got all the newer packages. It probably gets older as you go up. That's how it used to be. And then there's all the singles in here as well. So all sorts of singles and also sets down there. Like 1983-84 Peachy. Oh, Peachy missing number 300. So there's all sorts of cool complete sets in there. 89-90 Oh Peachy. You'll get like your rookies in there. The best one is a Wayne Gretzky rookie. I don't know if they have a Wayne Gretzky rookie on hand right now. Oh, look at that. They've got 3 of them. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that one. Graded 6. That's a nice one. Not cheap. He's got 3 Wayne Gretzky rookies right there. That's wild. Holy cow. That's a pretty big stock. Then there's all the singles, all the card bricks too. These are nice, a good value, right? Good stocking stuffer, 15 bucks for all those cards. Just card bricks, put those together. This is this little stamp department now. And all sorts of cool autographed jerseys and stuff hanging from the ceiling there. Everywhere you look, you're gonna see some stuff that's just really neat. All the coin sets by year. These are just the uncirculated sets. There's specimen sets, proof sets. There's all sorts of different types and grades of coins. This is like the copper display, all sorts of cool copper stuff there. The gold foil notes, those ones are pretty funny. Look, there's a Donald Trump note. I'm sure those are popular. I'm sure they sell like hotcakes, to be truthfully honest with you. I like this one here. These are all from the New Zealand Mint. There's all the Star Wars ones, pretty neat. And then Canada actually did some Star Trek ones. Those are the Star Trek ones. Trouble with Tribbles and all that. The Enterprise. Ooh, they even have the gold one right now. Super cool. You know, I used to laugh. I used to hear all the time that Lego's investing as good as gold investing. I used to laugh at that. Like, no, it's not. I'm sorry. And I had some reasoning to back it up with, as you can probably imagine. Yeah, so this is all like the mint stuff here for the coins, and then you get all the coin supplies too for like packaging all your coins and collectibles. I could literally write a book about this store. I know every department, like how to package the coins and how to do all that stuff. And I want to talk to you a little bit about my history here, my working history, what I did throughout the years, my transition into YouTube, and just in general how I used to manage working here and what it was like and all the great things that I learned and life lessons it's taught me, because it sort of sculpted me into the little mini entrepreneur that I am today, right here on YouTube. I like that Darth Vader up there. That's a Sideshow collectible. That's super cool. We should unbox that. No, no, I'm just kidding. We won't unbox it. I could, but we won't. I'm sure it's pretty incredible though. Oh my goodness. I love looking at all the statues and action figures. Like, look at that Thor. I could look in here forever. Look at that. Lots of cool stuff. Oh, wow, that's a creepy Pennywise. Yeah. Oh, look at that Mario one. That's neat. It's not bad. 195 bucks for that one. Beauty. Lots of cool stuff. Look at that Thor right there. Even me, I'm getting distracted. I'm in here all the time, and I'm getting distracted by all the cool stuff. Like, what's that? A little bit of bubbly. What? Is that like a WrestleMania thing? That's hilarious. Even an X-Files toy. That's old school. Very cool. I love it. As I mentioned, my stepfather actually owns this store, so I pretty much grew up here. This is like the environment that I grew up in. It was somewhere that I always came when I was a kid, and I proceeded to work here when I was a teenager and when I was an adult. And when I was a kid, I sort of worked here too. I was part of the experience. I've seen this store grow throughout the ages, and it's been super special. So I'll tell you some funny stories. When I was really young, we're talking like elementary, grade 5, 6, I started with Pokemon cards. That was when I was really getting into this place. And we're talking like the original Pokemon cards. Like we're talking Pokemon Basic, Fossil, Jungle, Rocket, like those old booster packs with like the super scarce like Charizards and stuff like that. That's when I was into Pokemon. And what I would do is I would buy the cards here. Of course, we are a retailer, so we were able to get them for wholesale prices. And I would open up all the packages, and I would buy, sell, and trade those Pokemon cards on the school field. And during the weekends, sometimes I would set up my cards on the stamp counter. So over here we have the stamp counter. It would have been a different store, different location, but it somewhat was like that. And on Sundays I would set up my cards, and we would sell the cards over the counter. And then I would reinvest the profits in more cards, and I'd have my little Pokemon card business on this counter, and I was always buying, selling, and trading Pokemon cards. And it was funny because I was in grade like 5, grade 4 doing this stuff, and it was just like so weird. I was like not really weird, it was really cool. I was like the little mini entrepreneur, and so were my brothers, and it was super neat. And I remember going through the phases of the different collectibles, and we did it with Pokemon cards. Obviously there's all the other stuff that you see here today, but a fad that really resonates with me is Beyblades. We did Beyblades in a huge way. We actually had 2 kiosks in the mall that like sold Beyblades, that's it. And me and my brothers, we'd work on the weekends. Geez, what was I? I was in grade 6 then when Beyblades were hot. And we'd work on the weekends from morning to close, and what we would be is we would be the runners of the Beyblades. So there'd be the main store, and there'd be the 2 kiosks, and we'd have our walkie-talkies, and we'd be running the Beyblades back from store to store, and we'd be selling the Beyblades, and we'd have our battle arena set up, and we'd be letting it rip, and we'd be battling the customers and stuff like that. And we were selling Beyblades at these stores when I was in grade 6. It was super cool. And I mean, it's not like we were forced to do it. We enjoyed doing it. It was like a hobby of ours, and we were working, and we were having fun with our toys, and we were just helping the business by running the Beyblades back and forth. So it was pretty cool. There was actually another fad that was before Beyblades, probably in the midst, just before Pokemon, and it was Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were huge. TY is still producing stuff today, and you can see there's some TY displays right here, but TY originally created the Beanie Babies, and they were massively collectible, and we sold a ton of them at the store in the Beanie Baby boxes. And I remember the most expensive one being the maple one. It was the white bear with the Canada flag on it, retailing for $100 back in the day. It was insane. And there was a time when McDonald's actually had the Beanie Babies in the Happy Meals, and they were pretty collectible. They were definitely worth more than the Happy Meal price. So what my dad would do is he'd give us, me and my brothers, some money, and we'd run down to the McDonald's, and we'd sit there, and we'd have a table. One of my brothers would sit at the table, and I'd buy the Beanie Baby, and then we'd go back and we'd buy a bunch of Happy Meals, and we'd have fries and burgers and stuff, and we'd get the little Beanie Babies, and we'd bring them back here, and we'd sell them. So it's pretty funny that we were doing that when we were super young. One that was super big, but I wasn't around for it, was actually Pogs. Pogs were huge, and that's before I was around at the store. But that was one of the things that really expanded this store into different collectibles. But the one that truly did it outside of the coins and stamps was hockey cards. Hockey cards in the 80s with those Wayne Gretzky rookie cards and all that stuff. In the 79, 80, 81, 82, hockey cards just exploded, and throughout the entire 80s and 90s. And that's what sort of diversified the store from the hole in the wall that was coins and stamps into other collectibles. So this was sort of like the second thing that was added to this store. And then throughout the years, we just sort of added more and more and more different departments. We went to like toy shows, we went to trade shows, and just sort of got more suppliers and just continued to add and develop throughout the years. It's definitely a pretty cool story. So I didn't only work here when I was a little snot-nosed kid playing with Beyblades and Pokemon cards and all that stuff, but that's sort of where it all started, as long as I can remember. When did I actually officially start working here, though? I would say I was about 13 or 14, grade 8. Probably work like one day after school, and then I would work on the weekends, probably the Saturday or the Sunday. And then as I transitioned into high school, I took it a little bit more seriously, and I worked, I think, Saturday and Sunday and 2 days after school. So I was working 4 days a week within high school. And then I went to college. I went to university, and I got a business diploma in management studies at Grant MacEwan. And I continued to work here while I was doing that as well. And that's when I sort of started taking a little bit more of a management role here, where I was actually ordering from the suppliers, doing customer relations, of course, like sales on the floor. That's the number one most important thing when you own a store like this, is to help customers on the store and just give everybody the best service that you possibly can. So I did that. And also when I was in university, I decided, okay, I'm working 4 days a week or whatever it may be. I think I need to do something else with my time here as well. So what did I do? I actually opened up my own business on the side of working here and on the side of going to university, called, it was an e-commerce website, so I dove into e-commerce, and I called this business buyitgetit.com. And this website that I had sold virtually anything. It specialized in the similar to things that you saw here, because I had all the supply lines for it lined up. So I opened up my e-commerce website that sold a lot of the stuff that you see here, primarily focusing on coins and stuff like that. But then I also got into random stuff like knives and fishing reels, essentially anything that I could find for a decent price at a wholesale rate in a bulk lot, and I would flip it online. And I sold like tens of thousands of things on eBay and also on my website while working here as well, and while going to university. And eventually, after I graduated university, I started working more than full-time here, and I was doing that business on the side, and I was like, you know what, this is enough. I can't do this business on the side. I can't focus on this business and that business at the same time. I'm burning the candle on both ends. I can't do it. So I decided to close down my e-commerce company, and then what I did was took everything that I learned from selling online, opening the store, managing the store, and doing all the stuff related to that business, and I applied it to this business, and we opened up the website here, and we started selling online here. So yeah, that was a big leap for this business when I was working here. We leaped online and we started selling stuff online, which was pretty cool, because I'd imagine if this store was online, it would be pretty darn cool, right? It's pretty neat. However, with that said, this store gets very, very, very busy, and we work a lot of hours here to keep this place afloat. So, for example, in November, December, that's when like retail is absolutely crazy, because everybody's going to stores like this to try and find that knickknack for certain somebody for Christmas. So my father and I, we would work from open until close pretty much from November 15th until the new year, every single day. So him and I would be here at 9 a.m. and we'd leave at 10 p.m. every single day, other than Sundays. Sundays was 10 until 7, not as bad. But we would work like 300-hour months in the months of December, and it was just like crazy. But It was insanely busy in here. And you know what they say in retail, you got to make hay when the sun shines, because guess what? January rolls around, February rolls around, it's dead. So you got to like really make it for those harsh months, right? So you got to make it when it's, you know, doable, and then it'll sort of get you through those harsh months where you're just completely, as people say, sucking slew water, I guess. Yeah, so that was sort of interesting. But I was doing that for a number of years. And then in 2017, well, actually in 2015, I got into Lego, and I was like, oh man, I need to get into something here to get my mind off work, because when you own a company, you're always on, you're always working, you're always looking at emails, you're always doing things related to work. So I got into Lego into a big way. And then in 2017, I got the brilliant idea that, hey, I'm working so much here, why don't I just start posting on YouTube? That's brilliant. Yeah, let's do that. So then I started doing that on the side of working here. And eventually I just kept posting on YouTube, posting on YouTube, posting on YouTube, working here, doing both things. And one thing led to another, that I became really passionate about YouTube. And I went full-time in 2020. And as you can probably imagine, it was really hard for me to take that leap of faith. I was raised in this store. It taught me virtually everything I know, other than the book smarts that I learned when I was in university and the computer skills that was sort of somewhat self-taught, right? But this store taught me things like hard work. You know, like it was a grind. We're always grinding. That's what we were doing. Ever since I was a kid, I was grinding. You know, we were growing. You should have seen this place 25 years ago. It wasn't anything what it was like today. It taught me hard work. It taught me adaptability. You got to learn how to adapt. If one product line is dying and it's going to be dead, and your business isn't going to survive, you've got to change. You got to change on a dime, and you've got to figure it out. You've got to get into comic books, or you got to get into sports cards, or the mall is raising the rents through the roof and you can't survive. You've got to get into selling other stuff, and you've got to start diversifying and hiring different people with different specialties and doing all of this different stuff. It also taught me like customer service and sales. That's the number one most important thing ever, is building relationships with people and having quality relationships with customers and providing good service. That is so important. Sometimes I go to retail stores and I don't get any service, and it just drives me bananas, and I just want to leave. You will never find that at this store. You will always get the best service here at this store, guaranteed, because that is what this store is built on, customer service. Also, it taught me how to manage people. When I was working here, I think we had 18 people working for us, managing all those people, giving them jobs, keeping them busy, keeping them motivated, keeping them happy, dealing with training new people, coming up with new job tasks, coming up with all of these different things. I learned all that at this store here, because, I mean, sure, you can learn things on paper at school, but you'll never learn it without actually, you know, physically doing it. It also taught me like buying, selling, supplier relationships, negotiation, all that different type of stuff. And also payroll. Taught me essentially how to do that. Like through my own company, I take a lot of the things that I learned here and I apply them to my own company that I run currently today. Also just like accounting and cash flow concepts. As you can imagine, having inventory like this, buying and selling inventory, you've got to be worried about dead inventory. Things aren't selling. You got to know how to like navigate all that different stuff and make sure you order the right quantities of things. Sometimes there'll be a really hot product and you don't get enough of them, and then you're like, wow, that sucks. And then there's a product that's a dud and you order way too much of them and you're like, wow, I just sucked there. Like, what's wrong with me? Why did I do that? Taught me how to sort of manage all that as well. And just in general, it taught me how to run a business. That's what it is. So when I say it taught me how, it's essentially everything that my stepfather has taught me. Like everything at this store is representation of what he has learned and done throughout the years and what he has trained me to learn and how to do. And I could run this company too, and I could still be here. And it was a huge thing to leave, you know, like it was a lot of, I was leaving a lot on the table when I took the leap to go full-time on YouTube. And it was one of the toughest decisions of my life, especially because when I did it in 2020, I wasn't making enough on YouTube to go full-time. I was nowhere near what I needed to be making to survive. And somehow I just took what I learned at the store and I applied it to my business and I survived. Yeah, it's a crazy story. I've never said this stuff on YouTube, but here I am today, everybody. But the one thing and the most important thing that has been instilled in my mind since I was a child and throughout all of my years of working here is hard work. That is the number one most important thing. There will be lows, there will be highs, but if you just continue to work through it, eventually you're going to land on your feet and eventually you will be where you want to be. And that is what I did here, and that's what I did on YouTube as well. I remember when I first started YouTubing, it was insane. I made 13 cents on my first month, and I was so excited. Like, you don't even understand how excited I was about making 13 cents in my first month. I was on cloud nine. I would show my mom my phone. I'd be like, Mom, look, I made 13 cents on YouTube. I was like, good for you, Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, good for you. Like, right on. And then 1 year later, Mom, look, I made $4 this month. And it was like, good for you, Jordan. And I was grinding every day after working here. And then in 2020, I was nowhere near ready to go full time, like nowhere near, and ended up doing it. Took the leap of faith, and there I was. Do I miss this place though? I do. I do miss this place. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You interact with a lot of people every day. There's a lot of fun things here. There's a lot of knowledge to have. And I sort of miss it, you know, it's cool. I do a lot of stuff on Whatnot too, and a lot of selling online, and I think it could be applied to I think it could be applied in a big way to this store, you know, like I think it would be super cool. But I'm really happy with what I do every day. I love my job as a YouTuber, but I also love working here as well. So, yeah. That's really about it, everybody. I just wanted to share my experience. If you ever come to West Edmonton Mall, make sure you check out the Lego store. Make sure you check out West Edmonton Coin and Stamp, which is right beside the Lego store. I hope you enjoyed my tour and a little bit of my history. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the near future. Farewell.